impossible.
We're trying to run a 2-minute 50-second kilometer to show off how fast this sub 2 hour marathon pace really was.
Welcome to episode 16. 3:55 was the best I could do. Bro, that's impossible. No, bro. Not even 292 meters. Pace.
Watch is 2:30.
What? He's tech hacking, there's no ways.
I only managed about 400 to 600 meters. My watch said 2 minutes 30 seconds. There goes David finishing off the rest of his run. That's tough.
Welcome to the Breakaway, episode 16. We have finally been called out by Timo in terms of welcoming anyone to come and join us in studio. Timo, thank you so much for being out.
No, thank you very much, David.
Absolute pleasure. What did you think of the sprint this morning? World marathon pace.
Well, I think it was quite funny to see you sprinting flat out and thinking somebody needs to keep that for 2 hours. Ridiculous.
Under 2 hours. Mind-blowing.
Mind-blowing, yeah.
You think that's mind-blowing and tough. Wait until you get on that start time, 3:61 in a few weeks' time.
No, just saying that gives me goosebumps.
We're going to cover a normal array of news topics. We both enjoy female cycling, which is we've been chatting about off camera. So we'll just update everyone on what's happening in the Vuelta. Teddy, what is the word you used? Dominated. Twitter Romandie. We're chatting over the weekend anyway about it. We're going to talk about some versus Active Hobo, stories, manners, socks, small brand punt there. I'm just kidding. We won't really talk about it, but they are available. But we want to zoom in, better said, upon an upcoming event that Timo's entered. I'd like to just chat a bit about why he entered that, the bike route being up to it, and then talk a little bit about gravel bikes in general. We're on the cusp of getting into, we actually share our first gravel bike review today. We've got a couple of bikes coming up. Just keen to chat about some of your experiences there. You've had raving reviews of the Titan. What is the specific name for it?
It's the new Gen 2 Switch.
Which hopefully we'll be able to get our hands on and test as well. So let's get into it. I want to start off with the run this morning. So last week we challenged ourselves on this show that said how long do we think we could run at the sub 2 pace for. We hear about these things all the time, and it's not too often we go out and we actually try and do it. Like put your watch on, measure the pace, and see how long we can do it. It is mind-boggling how fast that guy ran, or two of them ran. At sub 2 hour. It's just like I lasted 300 meters. Well, how many seconds that was? Was it very long?
Yeah, it's I think flat out sprint.
100%. Not. I don't even think. Yeah, it's a sprint. Max heart rate, I couldn't hold it for. Yeah. Timo, who's a really proficient chat GPTer, got quite an interesting stat. I'm going to just read it verbatim. It worked out what the marathon pace would have been if it worked back from the sub 2 hour that he was running. And he would have run a 2:16, which in the 1896 Olympics in Athens would have placed him third. They ran a 2:11 and a 2:11.8.
For the 800,
but 800 meter.
Yeah, which is a pretty quick race if you think about it nowadays. 800 meters. But I didn't even think the normal athlete on the street or the normal guy running at 21 on weekends would be able to run a 2:60, 800.
No,
that's spinal. It's pretty quick. So working that back, they did that for just under 2 hours.
Yeah,
and that's the new marathon world record. I think it's mind-blowing where sports is going now.
I wonder if we took the 1896 gold runner and put him on those Adidas shoes, but how much faster he would have gone. So many different perspectives to this. But what I love about, it's more difficult with other sports, because running, if you want to know how fast it is, put your shoes on, run barefoot, whatever, go outside, and you could put the stopwatch. You could pretty much do it. It'll be over quicker than you think.
No, definitely.
But yeah, just it does position just how fast that was. Sadly, Alec and I didn't do it yet. So still don't know who's the fastest runner, but we'll sort that out another day. We had some timing complications this morning on account of some good vino, I'm told. Hey, Alec? I'm just being ignored right now. Okay, over to cycling. Let's talk about the Vuelta Femme that started. It's on our stage 3 today, which is Tuesday, the 5th of May. Unfortunately, crashes are playing a big role in determining the standings at the moment. Noemi abandoned after a crash and 12 k's remaining yesterday. She was the previous leader. And Marianne Vos, we were talking about this earlier, rode down after that crash on day 1. They now know with a broken collarbone, crashed off the bike, back on, chased back, and was like hitting the sprint with a broken collarbone. How hot were these chicks?
No, next level. She's a machine. If I had to have fallen and broken my collarbone, I'd probably cry and pull my wife and say, come and fetch me. This lady jumps back on the bike, sprints all the way back to the peloton, and almost makes the sprint at the end. Yeah, I don't think it's, a lot of people don't see it in perspective of how good female cycling is. I think yes, male cycling is also next level compared to a couple of years ago, but I don't think the ladies get enough credit for how good they are. If we would take us as average cyclists on the road, I don't even consider myself average, but you are a pretty decent cyclist. I think those ladies would smash you.
Yeah.
So most of the climbs.
I have the fortunate benefit of having raced a few Garden Giro 361. There's a couple big, long endurance races, which is where, I think a different level of athleticism is uncovered. And in every one of them, the elite ladies demolish you from the very start. But then you've got the non-elite racing ladies, which is kind of like, if I think in the men's, that would be your Dusty Days, the guys that raced before they've been elite that are now racing, as vets, which are ridiculously strong. So those ladies, Kylie, as one of the notable ones that I've ridden with a few times now, demolished me completely. Like, it's not even, you're not in the same remit at all. On a Tuesday morning, that Savage Tuesday, with Blaylo joined, but was in her peak racing form, demolished me. Michaela Surtees on the Seikoborsi, like chappies, demolished me. Like these are non-elite racing women that will beat 98%
Of the
guys out there. And it's not that should be the measure of validating women in cycling, which I find it interesting. You naturally don't on this topic. But there is this desire to just, form attention to it, acknowledge it. Because I think we come from the same place. We're not trying to be the pro-feminist voice of the world. But it is just really interesting from an athleticism point of view. It's good racing.
Yeah, 100%. And something I even saw in my own household, like the amount of effort I have to put in to be a below average cyclist. And then if my wife just jumps on the bike and she cycles a little bit, she gets so much fitter than me, really quick. I'm like, it's so unfair. I put so much effort and time into this. And I just think a lot of times we need to give them a little bit more credit when it comes to it, because they also work really hard for it. And like watching some of the races, like I'm a avid fan of Demi Bollering. Yeah. And just to see what she can do, and you go and compare some Strava times to some of the really good guys out there. Yeah. It's crazy how good these ladies are.
Yeah. It's and the elite female cycling is new. Let's not forget that. It's only in the last couple of years there's been a Tour de France, the Femme Vuelta. It is new. It's a lot of the classics as well. Like this is all new stuff. Big Vuelta teams matching salaries, which is a big part of it. You can't go and be a full-time elite lady racing. Like, you need money. Unfortunately, the world is where it is. Like, you need all these things. So it's a really complex puzzle. How do you create the space for it to happen.
Yeah.
There are the usual Neanderthal-esque comments of, women don't get paid the same because the viewership isn't the same. Yeah, we understand, but the mass viewership is on nails, generally speaking, in sport. And it's not about male versus female. Like that's where you lose the argument. It's just that as subject matter to enjoy from a sport point of view is worth its time. And if the viewership isn't there, you need to invest to get it there, because we've had years and years and years of, quite frankly, it's just not being invested in. The platform wasn't there. The races weren't there. It just didn't exist. A sport that has had a lot of, I want to use the word equality because all these naming conventions irritate me. The tennis is a very good example of, where females have been well represented over the years. And anyone who enjoys tennis, any one of the formats, any one of the majors, will know that females tennis is on par. In some instances, even more exciting. You've got the list goes on and on and on forever. There's been a platform, there's been a stage for them to perform on over years, and it's a different type of game. No one questions if you had to take, best female against the best male who would win a tennis match. It doesn't matter. Women's tennis is enjoyable.
Yeah, it's a different category, and something I wanted to ask you, even like after the Epic. So, how do you feel with the way they changed the Epic for the elite ladies, making their course a little bit shorter to match the TSS compared to the men? Like, does that make sense? Because technically now in the opens for the average Joe and average Jill on the street, the average Jill, they had to do the full course.
Yeah.
But the elite ladies did a little bit of short course to make it.
Good question.
I wonder.
So we haven't released it yet, but we will soon be releasing. We sat with Shannon Falstaff who's the race director for Epic last week, and she shared a bit of insights around that. Sarah, who's normally on the show, wrote it as the average Joel had to do the full and compare to what the elites were doing. So we've got a pretty unique perspective, and my opinion is one thing, which I'll give you, but the feedback from the elite ladies is unanimously positive. Room for improvement. Was it perfect? Absolutely not. It cost Epic as a business a lot of time, a lot of resource, a lot of cash. It's a whole separate setup.
Yeah.
Logistically, it's a more of a thing to set that up in a completely different location. Media's got to divide. It's a massive, massive, massive complication that they've taken on with a long-term view of wherever we think Epic is now, where it's going to land at is, we can't even imagine it. Shannon blew my mind in terms of how big their vision is for the sport. And that's what they're gearing for. So it's important to understand that perspective. Do I think it was the right decision? Objectively, 100%. Like it makes complete sense. There's not a format in the world where they, on a stage race format, where they're expected to do the same distances. Garden with Giro, they did. I think the distances were very fair. I don't think that was the elite ladies were miles ahead of the rest of the field. But job, and we also sat with Ship Media, Earbolt, and he was explaining the difficulty of getting between the elite men and the elite ladies, because in some instances the gaps are half an hour, and he's got seconds to get the shots as an official elites, one of the media coverage people that were dedicated to the elite side of the field. So there's all these things that whittle in. Epic are 20 plus years down the line, I understand that, and they've made the right call to do that. So I think it makes better racing. I think the media is the biggest complication there, because we're all watching. The races are running concurrently. And the only criticism I really saw, which I think is valid and I'll learn from, is I don't want to watch the woman at the expense of not seeing the men, and I don't want to watch the men at the expense of not seeing the woman. Okay? So you've got to figure out a way to show me this full-time next to each other. Now, using tennis as a random example again, you don't have to choose which one you want to watch. They've figured that out. Like, they both have their day. And if there's two big matches on, you have two courts, you have two champions. So there's ways to get there, but obviously it's a long story. But that decision, among many others, I think are just, hindsight will be 20 years to come. Like, how formative these years going to be for ladies 20 years from now. Our Femme Series on our channel, we interviewed a bunch of ex-Yo superstars, Tyler included, all of which are from KZN, these are young females, 16, 18, inspired by people that have come before them. 6 tartars, 5 tartars, 8 tartars, absolute dominant females in their sport, just in South Africa. They're inspiring girls, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It's this multiplying effect. And we're living in the era of that massive weighting of effort being put in. I think we're going to see some incredible stuff in years to come at a world tour level, road, gravel, mountain, and locally. Very long-winded answer to achieve.
Yeah, no, but I agree with you. As a fan, I think it was probably the best call that the Epic could have done, because standing at the finish line and kind of following on the app, where is everybody? You see the men coming in, and not long after that, the ladies coming in. So you can cheer for your favorites on the men and on the ladies' side. It's so good to see how much more punchy the ladies' competition is as well, because they don't have to put in that insane effort, especially if you take it on the TSS compared to the men. So it makes the racing so much more exciting, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that was a good call, but it sets a difficult standard in the industry, because think of Gravelberg, Garden Regiro, all of that. It's so nice to watch the elite ladies as well. So how are those races and those race organizers going to kind of make it a way for the ladies to also compete in the same way, and make it interesting for the fans? Because at the end of the day, the fans are the ones that's driving all of this media and all of that stuff. And I think the gravel and mountain biking scene in South Africa especially has gotten the media side of it so teed in. I just wish the road cycling side would to get on the same band, because you don't really see a lot of our road cycling, like this weekend with the VP league, then Paradise, they close to my home. It was nice to see, because I cycled past it, but you didn't see any coverage of it or nothing. So the road cycling, I think there's some work to be done from us as a cycling community in South Africa, I would say. But the gravel and mountain biking side, I think everybody's doing a phenomenal job when it comes to the media coverage.
Yeah, it's a whole topic to get into. If you look at, and we can talk about that, so it's important. Before we get into that though, just to wrap up with Vuelta Fem, you said you enjoy watching, so you'll tune in, you'll watch.
100%.
I thought it was quite cute that you said you just don't like watching when they fall.
Yeah, that breaks my heart. Seeing the ladies fall is really tough for me. Like, I'm the typical Afrikaner man. It's okay for me to see the men crash.
Yeah.
It's bad. I don't want to see them get hurt, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But seeing the ladies crash, especially lately, we've seen quite a couple of big crashes after goals, and like cringe on the inside, like to not TV.
Don't see it.
Yeah, it's just,
it is tough to see, and cycling is an extremely underrated sport as far as being dangerous is concerned. Like, I talk about this all the time. There are very few sports that aren't as risky to train and racing as cycling, particularly on the road. But the risks are just insane. And I mean, we saw it in elite men and female racing. Like, you're going to see it with the females. It's because it's so televised now, and it's about, those are the stakes. Like, you're crashing at north of 40-50 k's an hour. It's like the risks they're taking are
with 2 millimeters of micro. That's it.
It's
protection.
that's hardcore. I mean, we've seen men, but Egan Bernal as an example, training at, like, it's a miracle the guy can even walk, let alone on a bicycle again.
And back with me quite a lot.
Men are genetically, physically stronger, tougher is maybe a difficult word to use. So I think that's a natural thing. I think a lot of the ladies are way more hardcore than we could begin to imagine, and they'll brush it off. He's providing. That's in sports. Kelly Bishop is a good example. Alec was involved in a crash with her at Garden and Giro. She still blitzed past me. and pretty much the rest of the field to the top of Swartberg, where at the top I saw her in the ambulance. We stopped, we made sure like, is everything okay? And she was promptly hurt. I don't know what the list of injuries were. It was a second crash. She was involved in a crash now at the tracker overseas. Blood pouring, and she'll get back on that bike and she'll send it double speed that I'll do. She's hardcore, she's gnarly. She doesn't want to trust them. She can give a shit. She's like, you can't watch it, shame for you.
But it's a champion's mindset.
Yeah, chicks are hardcore.
Yeah.
Like, they put babies into this world. I can guarantee you, me, and any other man in the world can't have it. Because the threshold of pain they can put it through. One thing I'd love to know, and for any ladies watching us, please, and guys for that matter, like, I just wonder when they see the shortened routes racing on the heat or not, if that little bugs them. It's like, actually, I'd love to do the full distance stuff. I want the full Tour de France 21-day experience. Like, don't cut anything out. Like, we just, I wonder that side of us. I don't have access to World Tour cyclists, Kim LaCourts, and Candice Lawls, and I'd love to know their perspective on that. But I think, with gravel burns and Connery Giros and, the perceived challenge of, well, Epic did it, now you have to do it. I don't know so much. I think the punter that goes out there wants to do, and we'll talk about your 361 as an example. You're going out there to do this thing as a challenge. I'm going out there to do this thing as a challenge, and I want to survive it, and my measure is me against myself. I think when it comes to elite racing, that is a career. There's someone out there earning a living, racing against their peers in whatever the format is, whatever the stage is. I don't know how much they care about their relationship to where the men are. Like, the men's race is the men's race. I'm here, my job is to win races. If that race is 30K, 60Ks, 120Ks, I'm here to win a race. The rest of the field is competing, I'm competing. I think for those career professionals, it's different. If the epic is shorter for our race to coincide with all sorts of other things that make the whole event the prestigious event that it is, so the timing of things and fairness, like, I think that's a separate conversation to of an enthusiast, which is my blanket term for anyone outside of that. And Rebecca, Kylie, the many other females, I think, and please jump in there and correct me if I'm wrong, you're going there to experience the event, the Garden of Giro in its full form, the epic, and there it's half of the course, keen to go out there and hook it with the rest of the field, knowing athletically I'm far superior to the vast majority of men that are out there. That's not the measure. It's just you're there to do the full thing. So I think there's a difference there.
I think the difference is between compete and complete.
Yeah.
Exactly. The majority of the cycling community, us average guys and average girls out there, we want to complete, have a good time and challenge ourselves, and then on the elite side, it's compete.
Yeah.
You want to win the race, you get paid to win a race, there's sponsorships, there's television that goes with it, there's media coverage that goes with it. So I think that's where the difference comes in. But now I think it's a fine balance between where do you get some of the shortened courses to the compete and complete.
Yeah. Well, I'd be very interested to know from any female viewers of the program to let us know what you think. I mean, I'd love to know. If you're a lady training towards Epic 2027, or if you're going to do gravel burn, or if you're planning on doing Garden Giro next year, do you like the idea of a shortened female route for events, or do you want you're happy to go out there and complete the full thing with everyone else? I'd love to know. I think that we can actually put a nice poll up to see what people have to say on that front. My guess would be, I want to do the whole thing. Thank you very much. I understand the elite days are going to go race, but that's a different format. I'm going to have to do the full thing. Thank you very much.
I think it would be nice to see
destroy Dave and Timo out there and show them his boss.
I think it would be nice to see some of the ladies in the comments just giving their 10 cents on how they feel about it. It would be nice to put it in perspective, because we as men can banter back and forth about this, but at the end of the day, it's their weekend that matters.
Tegan Phillips called me out on it. And we'll never not represent that, a voice to that, and just like apply ourselves to it. You have a platform, use it to talk about it. I don't do it because, you know, it must be on the agenda. You have to talk about females. I really enjoy female sports in cycling. I think it's phenomenal. Running, shadow, yes,
Machine.
like who doesn't enjoy watching? You know, that side of the field. Like the male female thing. I think so much of it is lost in the comment section to extremists on either side of the fence. So it's just like to talk about it. We'd be doing it anyway. But it's good to hear all your viewpoints on it. Speaking about polls and gently transitioning to a more Timo focused part of the show, I just want to bring up the results here. So we asked on YouTube, you can put up polls. Please keep an eye for them. If you can't see them, you can go on your phone to Active Hobo on YouTube, and you go all the way to the right. There's this part there called posts, and you can see it about posts, and you can go and vote. We've only done one so far. So we asked, what would influence you most when considering a new gravel bike, and intentionally left out wheel carries, tire compatibility, compliance. And we gave 3 options: value and price, technological innovations, so pivots, future shocks, that kind of thing, or it's all about the brand. So those are your 3 options, which were, I think for most people, it's like, you want to like almost have a percentage, like it's 70% this, but this is still very important. So we forced people to pick one option. There was no all of the above. You said you're very torn between 2 of them. Talk me through your viewpoints on this as we gradually build up to this absolute mountain event you've entered.
Yeah, so value is a big thing. It's like I said earlier as well. We live in the South African economy. Not everybody earns good and big salaries or have their own businesses and stuff like that. So it's value for money is, I think, going to be a key driver within our cycling community, because stuff is a bit more expensive in South Africa compared to overseas, if anybody can go look up on Google. And technology on the other side, because I mentioned to you that the Volkswagen putting and Titan Racing, after my video going viral, that forced me into the 361 thing, they said, oh no, we'll give you a gravel bike to go and do it with. Because I wanted to do it with a mountain bike, because gravel bike for me, because I'm 120 kgs, it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. It hurts my joints. It's going over that corrugation. Descending is a little bit scary as well, because at that weight you descend quite quickly. And then Titan came out with this new Gen 2 MX Pro, which is the one them and Devol gave me for the 361, but it has a front shock, which is a Rudy shock, only 60 mil of travel. And it also has a dropper post, which makes descending a lot, gives you a bit more confidence. But for me, it's so comfortable. So 50 mil tire clearance, so I can, if you wanted to, some really loud mountain bike trails, you can do it. That single track is a lot easier. These heavy corrugated roads are a lot easier. Very rocky roads is a lot easier for me. So that's where I put it on the technology side, but also value for money, because I'm not the type of guy that's going to spend 200 grand or 300 grand on a bike. That's always a question for me.
Yeah.
But having nice carbon wheels, a nice carbon frame, a decent coupe set, which I'm fortunate enough now to try out this new SRAM Access 13 speed as well, which is very nice. Not cheap, but very nice.
Yeah.
So for me, that I'm torn between the 2. I can't really say where I'm going. What's your opinion on it?
I
think that you have done a couple of races on this.
So I'll have a better answer to this. We've got 7 bikes committed that we'll review over the next 5-6 weeks. It's going to be hellishly tough to get enough saddle time to really understand it across them. With what I've ridden so far, I've ridden a few bikes in my time. I've evolved. It used to need, to be completely honest, and a lot of people don't like to just phone up and say it, but I was 100% Brad at the start. As a human being, I have this been installed for a long time, whoever came up with it, it was a great marketing campaign. Goedkoop is duur. Buy once. Rather feel the pain, buy once, and you're not. Then you go in and you get the cheapest thing, and 6 months later you bought the level up and you've lost money in the first thing you bought in the first place. So I've had that experience too many times. And it's like rather save a bit longer or feel the pinch a bit more and start at a high level. It's never been 250k, top of the range. Like that's never been in my realm of possibility, but it's always been Brad. I always starting out at a trek, and I don't care what anyone says, at some point you want to own an SWX. which I did, and then obviously got involved with owls, and which is at the opposite end of the spectrum in terms of what people perceive. Chinese open vault frame and stuff. The idea people have of that brand and others, which is purely driven by ignorance and years of marketing channels and publications that are not telling a full open-ended story. It's a really convoluted topic, actually. And I, having written quite a lot beyond just owls, it's quite liberating because the veil is dropped, and you start to see things through different lens. So me picking those, now knowing what I know, would actually have been the lowest percentage, which is technological innovation. So what people voted for, based on 46 votes, was 77% said value price, 11% technology innovation, 11% brand. And in the comments, it was, you left our tire clearance and compliance, which is a big thing in gravel. But for me, it would be technology. Now, technology isn't necessarily sharp or the pivots or whatever the case is. It's more holistically like the features of the bike, different stuff. Because I haven't ridden the 8 different bikes, 7 or 8 different bikes we've been reviewing, but I'm fairly certain they're all going to be really good. I don't think you get a cuck bike today. I don't think you get a cuck new car today. Like the level of everything we consume is pretty high, generally speaking. Things are good. We're really advanced down carbon manufacturing and layup and all that kind of stuff. There's not major gaps between in road bikes as a good example, but there are big differences in setup, tire clearance, huge tires. I mean, I've literally on the Ols, I've ridden what are those specialized tires, the Tracers, compared to the Challenge. Challenge tires that are normally involved. It is like it's the exact same bicycle, just changing the tires. If you blindfolded me, I'd say it's a different bicycle.
Oh.
And people don't test those things. You get tires that come on the bike, and that's what you ride. So all that other little things that make up at a far bigger impact on the bike than just it's a Canyon, it's a whatever. It's so that for me would be a big part of it. The challenge in there is you don't get to ride bikes. Where can you go? I mean, Devol, I'm so glad to hear that. And they are hard riders. They are really good when it comes to letting people ride a bike. Yeah, Reinhard started them before. Many people, they are phenomenal in terms of like, here's a bike, you can go ride it. But there's no dealership macro type place you go to where you've got all these bikes lined up. It's like, sure, so there's a 20k gravel loop over there. Spend the day, go ride all with it. Ride every one of these bikes, go out, and the one that feels better for you, buy that one. Mechanical, electric, alloy, carbon. You're spending, I mean, even on the value end of the scale, bike you're describing, what is that? Would that be priced at 100 grand?
It's 90k, yeah.
Okay, so 90 grand, 90 to 110,000 rand. A lot of people, and I'm not saying everyone, before everyone absolutely crucifies me in the comments section, as that is generally perceived as a valid price point now.
Yeah.
Unbelievably. Now, 90 to 110 grand for you getting a carbon frame, carbon wheels, lacquer tires, maybe not integrated bar stem, maybe yes. Generally speaking, people will say, good value.
Yeah.
That's fucking bonkers. That is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
I bought a Golf 4 GTR for 70,000 rand the other day. It has an engine, heated seats, a sunroof, It goes when you change gears.
To give you an idea, so people that know me, I work in the agricultural sector, and when you tell some of these boertjies that, yeah, I'm doing a big cycling event, and then they're like, oh, do you have those bicycles that cost 50,000-60,000 rand? I'm like, yeah. And I tell the guys, well, this new gravel bike's 90,000 rand. He's like, fuck, I could buy a new KTM 300 for that.
Not a new one.
Not a new one, but a fairly good second-hand one. So that breaks a brand of a lot of people. But if you are into the cycling community, you understand that's very good value for money.
Extra spending 20,000 rand on a golf driver. I was talking about tennis earlier. When last did you look at what a tennis racket costs?
I have no idea.
Do you think paddle rackets are crazy? It's insane. Couple thousand rand for a tennis racket. So it's what I wouldn't get myself stuck into the death loop of the price of the thing. Is there a value problem in cycling? It lost its mark somewhere along the line. When I started riding entry-level carbon Bianchi sprints, 30 grand. Mechanical shifting, alloy wheels, carbon frame. I love that bike. It's flipping brilliant. It was many to choose in that price range, which then I had anxiety when I left, cycle that. I had like a panic attack. I just spent so much money on a bicycle. It was insane. It was like I vividly remembered. I phoned my wife and I was like, love, I'm freaking out, and I just spent this much money on a bike. She's like, I haven't relaxed. Like, it's, investing in your future, your well-being. She was 100% out, changing my life. They started on top. But like that was hectic. And now yoga, 90 grand, it's good value. And it is good value. So I read the bicycling review. I'll show you downstairs. The cover image is that beautiful red zip wheels. That's the price. So I can go kind of where they priced at. That's a very finite number of people have got 100 grand to spend a buck.
Yeah.
That's not mass market. And that's where we're different to Europe. We're different to America. There are loads of people that have got that 5,000 euros to spend. Mate of mine, Vincent, he watches the channel. Hi, Vince. Remember Vincent Plumbo from Basketball Ride?
Yes.
So he's looking at this Canyon, not a Canyon, the Cannondale aluminium road bike they recently brought out. Both of us are frothing for that thing. Yes, it's nice. It's up there, standards.
Entry-level bike.
No.
Not
alloy reserve wheels, like it's probably under 80 crap. But it's
that's one feature.
why have we? Breakaway, please put up of that beautiful bike. Kate needed reviewed it. Ever since I saw it, I'm like, this is going to burn a hole.
Okay.
It's one of those bucket list bikes that make no sense. And you can get it for, don't quote me on it, but like 40% cheaper because of bicycle schemes in Europe, UK, that give you money back to get you on a bicycle, to get you off the road, because they have a very logical view on the better people commuting. So for all these different reasons, the market there is like, it's not comparable. I look at Oll's, distributorship, we're really like, we're irrelevant when it comes to value. But if I didn't exist, I don't think it would make a difference there. Borrowing some cool videos and get out of the Nanake. It's although I believe S-Works Freewheel is like the best performing S-Works reseller in the world or something crazy. So like we have these pockets of excellence. Like you'll never see more GTRs anywhere in the world than in South Africa. Like so that we've got these
But all those S-Works are probably in Western Cape as well.
No, where else did you go to Germany around?
Well, it's been a while since I moved.
That's the buck. S-Works is the on the road. S-Works owns the markets, I'd say.
Listen, I know a few people with S-Works, and it is absolutely lovely. Nice bikes to look at, but I just can't justify it for me. So seeing the new Epic 9 now being launched,
It's nice.
340,000 rand for a mountain bike. Yes.
See now, we have derailed marvelously from our topic of conversation, which we're going to come back to, which is UM361. So there is a market for premium. Whether it's every single brand has their premium offering, which is absolutely top of the range. Everything. It's not mass market, And for whatever reason, people will not vilify them, but there's this like, I don't know, they aren't held in a high regard. Like people like turn their nose up at that, or they're like, that price point is ridiculous, and they go off on these tangents. There's a lot of people with a lot of money, and a lot of those people enjoy cycling, and there is a mindset of the best no matter what. People that fly from South Africa to England on the same plane would get there at the same time in the uni with a 15 grand economy seat, or whatever first class costs, 150 grand.
Oh, no, they're great.
Whatever that number is, it's crazy. And then there's the guys in the middle. There is no objective, rational reason why you would spend that. But it's when you have extreme wealth and you've done well for yourself, like you will pay whatever it is that you need to pay for luxury, for comfort, to have nice things. Now, there is a market for those people in every single thing in the world, whether it's cars, whether it's jet skis, whether it's tractors, whether it's whatever it is, marble tops for their homes, whatever other crazy shit people come up with. And I'm not saying that the bikes are developed for just people that they can take pissed out of the price, maybe a little bit. There's them, and then there's the people that are intended to race these bikes, where there's the best of the best, no matter what it costs.
Where the 10 grand lighter does make it.
100%. So they'll develop the product to be like at the absolute pinnacle, and the R&D and the marketing and all the costs associated with that need to be absorbed somewhere. So that goes into that price. And then there's a lot of the people that actually can afford those bikes aren't racing at the sharp end of the field. They just got the bucks to do it. I'm very okay with that. I want to see people pushing on, and that thing has to exist in the world. The other side of this, I was thinking this the other day, we all owe the people that can afford those bikes a big thank you. We were talking earlier about how important a bike shop is. DeVille is an example. Gear Change, Freewheel, John O'Connor, E-City Cycles, like the list goes on. It's really, really, really important that those people don't exist, but that they can thrive. I was having a conversation with my daughter. She's like, how ridiculous is it that, it's £10, no, not £10, £5 or £6 for a coffee in the UK. It's 120 Rand. That is crazy. How can you justify that? I was like, well, it's not what it costs to make the cup of coffee, what it costs to make that cup of coffee. It's what it costs for the establishing and serving it to you to live a standard of living that you deem acceptable. That's what you're paying for. When I'm paying for a bicycle, or I'm paying for a coffee, or I'm paying for whatever it is, I don't want to, I know that this doesn't cost 50 Rand to make this cup of coffee. When I'm buying it, I'm not buying it based on what I perceive the lowest cost for it to be. I'm buying it because I hope that the guy behind the shop who's there at 5 a.m. doing his craft to deliver this magnificent experience, and this coffee does do that. I don't want him to go home and be slumming it. I want him to go home and have nice things too. That's the price that I'm willing to pay for it. That's the mindset we need to have. Now, when there's a bike shop that's there, that's got, Alec, how many people in the workshop at Freewheel? How many people in the workshop at Freewheel?
Yeah, 2 now.
2. But it's like 4.
Yeah, it's supposed to be 4 plus a manager right now. Yeah.
So 4 plus a manager. Alec works at Freewheel. Is one of the senior mechanics there. Then you've got the people on the floor. You've got the back office. Like, you go and look behind DeVille Cycles. I don't know personally. There's bodies there.
Yeah.
Craig, Courier, Bicycle Up. We know how many people were there. It's 2 baristas, a helper, 3 people live in the retail store, husband, wife, Bernie, mechanics. There's a lot of mouths to feed. So the price that you're paying, 100 Rand for a bike, yes, it doesn't cost 100 Rand to make a bike. No one's under the illusion that it costs, a lot less than that to make the bike. But that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for the people providing the meals to live standard of living that is reasonable. And that's a very difficult thing for people to get their head around. So when the dentist goes and buys his 400 grand S-Works or his Lab 71 or whatever it is that he buys, a big chunk of that is profit. That shouldn't be vilified. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no reason people can't make profit. And when he's buying a bike, he's taking on a lot of the burden of, it's 10 of the other cheaper bikes.
Yeah.
That allows that bike shop to be there. And that's a really difficult thing people don't want to grapple with. And but nothing. I fully support that people must live good lifestyle. I don't want bike shops to just get by. I want them to have tons of cash that they can invest in people, they can invest in Dan Mochers and help them get to races and push the envelopes of the industry, because it all takes money. But if we're not willing to, for no one, like if no one must make any profit for us to order the cheapest thing, where must it come from?
No, for sure, because we are actually investing back into the cycling community, and that's probably one of my biggest reasons why I do all of these crazy challenges and stuff. But I want, especially me as a Afrikaners here, and we are, as Afrikaans people, we are generally unhealthy people, and we need to live a healthy lifestyle. And I don't want people
That's
to
a horrible stereotype.
No, but it is. It is. I don't want the guys to be scared of, oh, I can't go cycling because it's too expensive to go and do it.
Yeah.
But it really is. Think of where I was. I was 160 kgs, drinking brown wine and smoking and living a very unhealthy lifestyle within the agriculture sector as a salesman. And there's so many more guys out there. And I wish if I can, through my journey, just inspire one person to change their life to live a little bit of a healthier lifestyle and get into cycling, I think I've done a good job there. But that's the thing. I don't want people to be scared of, I can't get into cycling because it's too expensive.
Yeah,
But we don't need tires.
and you don't need to spend 150 grand.
Yes, I don't.
I've seen many people on 20 grand rigs demolish people on 300 grand rigs. That is cycling. Your legs speak louder than any amount of equipment you want underneath you. You can afford the nice stuff, cool, blackload. But there's plenty. Bike hub, you can find a bike from 5 grand,
Even so, sometimes.
300-400 grand. And this is the big thing. The wheels turn, the gears go right, propels you forward. Now, you don't need it. And we talk about this often. The industry isn't as judgmental as the outsiders make it appear. I can't tell you one example where Oak rocked up on an alloy bike or something cheap or old or outdated, and Oak's like looked funny or had something to say, or even if people arrive in cheaper kits,
Not the cycling community.
don't rock up with your black fucking socks. Like, you make sure you wear white socks. Active Hobo Stories Matter socks. Like, that's where I draw the line. No one cares what gear you ride, or how cheap your helmet was, or how expensive your glasses are or aren't. No one cares.
Yeah.
Sure, is a nice panel mole, white socks, like, the helmet, though, like, sure, it looks fucking cool. Like, I dig that. Like, props where, like,
But work out it.
but you don't have to have that. And a guy wearing that, generally speaking, isn't sitting next to the guy not wearing that and being weird about it. They'll have the same conversation when they sit at the cafe.
And they
Sure,
suffer
yeah,
about the same
Yeah,
time.
100%. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
And we've shared in that journey on a few occasions, which I've really enjoyed. And that's the essence of cycling. So that perceived barrier of price, bullshit. Yes, there's expensive stuff out there. That's like saying no one can afford a car because Lamborghinis are 8 million rand. Don't be fucking dumb.
No,
They
100%.
don't need it.
And for anybody wanting to get into the cycling industry, so many bike shops have second-hand bikes.
Yeah.
You can get a fairly nice second-hand bike for less than a gym membership for a year.
Sure.
If you
If you're out of it. Yeah.
If it's a mountain bike, a road bike, you can go and get a lacquer bike that's gonna last you a couple of years, and you can get into the sport, and it'll be liberating if you get into cycling. I promise
Change your
you,
life.
it will change your life.
Speaking of changing your life, let's stop flirting around the main topic here. You decided to enter 361. You referred to a viral video. Take me through it.
Yo. So I was on my mountain bike one morning, and a good friend of mine, the Toy from the Bear, which is a fairly good cyclist, you know him. He said, Timo, you need to enter 361. I'm like, no way. And I made this Instagram video saying, the Toy said I need to enter 361, but I can't because my mountain bike's a trail bike. I'm like, I can't do it. Yeah. And this thing went kind of viral, and the guys at the Ville and Titanson are like, oh, but we'll get you on a gravel bike. And I'm like, okay, now I have to do it. And then the Toy organized my entry. They paid for my entry, and I'm like, oh my, this is it. This is happening. And I've never shied away from a challenge. Like when I went into this cycling thing, and kind of changed my life quite a bit. I did my first half Ironman in Mossel Bay, 2024, which I absolutely suffered on for 7 hours, 40 minutes. So I'm not afraid of a challenge. And then this thing came across my path and I'm like, ooh, very intimidating. But then I just applied myself to it and say, listen, Timo, you need to do this. I need to prove to myself that I can do it, but also show some other guys out there. And like I mentioned earlier, guys my age living a very unhealthy lifestyle, thinking that, no, I can't change my life. Like, you can. You can do it, especially if I can do it. A lot of other people out there can do it as well. And we are so privileged waking up in the morning with a semi-decent body, even if my petite physique has a bent. But that we can do it because there's a lot of other people that would love to be in your position, to be able to do it. So that's kind of my big push there. It's proving to myself that I can do this because it's a very big challenge. And I'm going for about 25 hours-ish. I know I don't want to put a time on it, but 25 hours on a bike is not a joke. I'm not a sub 20 guy. Like I said, I weigh 120 kgs. I'm not the type of guy that can do 1,000 VAM on a climb. And I'm lucky if I hit 400 and then I'm flat out. So this flirtation with that ultra endurance race has been coming for a while, and now 361 is 2 weeks away, and it gives me goosebumps thinking of it. Very exciting. But
What has been some of your prep?
well, a lot of volume, but I started cycling with a coach as well, and he's been helping me, Andre, from Training Lab, they did Durbanville. He's been putting me through some good sessions where it's either VO2 max sessions, very long ride. Friday I did a 7 or 8 hour ride on the bike. That was part of my prep. Doing good punchy climbs on the mountain bike sometimes just to get my heart rate and my threshold up a little bit, trying to get my VO2 max up as much as possible. But I'm fortunate enough, as I'm losing weight, the VO2 max is also going up, and that helps quite a lot. So I wouldn't say there's any magic sauce to the prep, but it's applying yourself to it and putting time in the saddle. I'm roughly around now 20 hours a week in the saddle.
Yeah.
Every morning,
Shots.
up at 4 o'clock. 4:30, I'm on the bike, doing 50, 60 Ks every morning throughout the week. And then on weekends, it's 2 5-hour rides, or 1 5-hour and 1 3-hour ride with intervals in between. So that's pretty much how it's been going for the last 2 months.
And are you kidding?
As good as I've ever felt. I think I'm as good as I've ever been now, cycling in the past 2.5 years. But it feels like I haven't prepped enough. But I think you will always feel like you've never prepped enough.
Yeah.
It'll only make the time of suffering shorter at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But you'll still suffer the whole 361 Ks.
And we spoke about this earlier, so do you know the answer, but for the viewers that might not know, have you simulated your fueling? Because that's what's one thing to ride for 25 hours. That's a whole nother kettle of fish to fuel 25 hours. Have you done good simulation work there on those big blocks of training? Same nutrition again, using there, making sure that the gut's ready for that.
Yeah, so I have quite a bit, and especially on the long 5+ hour rides. So for me, 226 is the only brand I can use. It's the only brand that doesn't mess my gut up, where you 3, 4, 5 hours into fueling and you get gastric issues, or I bonk. I've tried some other brands where I bonk, but that's just a personal thing. I've also seen with 226s like the high fructose stuff, I can't use it. My body just works in how too quickly. I think it might be because of my weight, because I need to fuel quite a bit more than the average guy. So I see on my very long ride, I need to be between 80 and 90 grams of carbs per hour. So the high energy stuff, and then also the high energy gels. And then I need to take him solids. If I don't take him solids, I see the time between gels and time between carbs get shorter and shorter and shorter. And then after a while, if it's so full, I'm like, oh yeah, I had a lekker Sunday lunch at Omar, so you can't take any more food in. So if I don't mix it up with solids, then my feeling takes quite a curveball for me. And I've seen a few times where I bombed and absolutely messed it up. Cold weather, not drinking enough, and then you suddenly stop cramping. I'm not a person that cramps in general, but I know as soon as I stop cramping, I either overdid it on the
I need to interrupt and warn you. On this podcast, if you say that you don't cramp, you will find that you, one, will cramp, and someone will be there with a camera waiting for you. And 3, it will be posted on this channel.
like we
And
you'll
you'll be
go
ready
into
to
Giro, taking rennies.
Pack readies. Sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, I hear you on the cramping.
Yeah, but in general,
You on the cramping.
yeah, in general, I'm not somebody that cramps. But when I do cramp, I may stop feeling. I know, 100%.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's so new for me cycling in cold weather now. The Western Cape has taken a turn for the worse, and it's not so lack of cycling 5 o'clock in the morning.
You can be very grateful it's happened. Very grateful, because you don't want to be finding this out at 361.
No, I think it makes sense.
Best thing you can do is be cycling through this now. And the weather looks super cuck, get them wiping the road.
Yeah.
Because when that happens out there, there's no, oh, I'll eat this one in. You're out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it probably makes my mind nice and strong, but which is good. Like I said, I'm not afraid of the challenge. I've never backed away from the challenge. But this whole journey, and not just the 361 journey, last year, moving down to Cape Town, it was really tough. And I really think just the whole cycling thing and everything calloused my perception of life a bit more in the sense of I can take on tougher things and in work, in my personal life. So I'm very grateful for what all these challenges have brought me. And after 361, I'll probably find the next thing that's going to challenge me. I really want to do the Cape Epic one day. That's one of the very big bucket list things for me. So if all goes well and my weight loss journey goes well, I have about 20 kgs more to ease. Then I'm 100 kgs. I think then cycling will be a lot easier. So hopefully by then I can have my stuff figured out to do Cape Epic maybe for 2027.
Man, you've been an inspiration from the start. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to, from far and from close, see the journey. The weight loss resonates a lot. It's a big drive force. It was for me initially. I couldn't really care what my speed was or placing or that stuff. It just want to lose that weight. Just all good. That's it. You feel it. We carry it everywhere. It's like it's just such a loss. And when that starts to go, that's a catalyst for lots of other great things in life. It will be easy, but you'll just go faster than you go back at times. So I saw you at the half Ironman. So I've seen that grit and that determination that you have. So I've got no doubt you're going to finish this thing. I just think you might cry a little bit more than you would ever have imagined. Is Toiki and any of the other guys going to be out there?
Unfortunately not. There is some of the other guys of the sports cycling group that I cycle with that is going to do it there. So there is some of the big community of the bicycle line guys are coming down doing the 361. So it's not like I will be out in the field by myself and suffering by myself. I know a couple of people that's going to be doing it, and I've been having so many people cheering me on and making sure that the journey is as easy as possible where it is right now to get me through this. And then obviously my wife will be there as well, but she can be at the start line and at the finish. She's not allowed to be at the checkpoints because my wife she's very soft of heart, and if she sees me crying and suffering at one of the checkpoints, I'm afraid she'll tell me, you can stop, it's fine, and then I'll do it. And so I told her, you're not allowed, only finish line and start line. That's
Proper planning.
yeah. She needs to go to
That finish line's going to be
a
so
spa,
special, man.
something during the day, but yeah.
Be so special. So have you done a dryland event before?
I don't think I've done a dryland event before. This will be my first one, but I've heard so many good things of what dryland does, and a lot of the events I want to do, I see the Oak dryland event. So I'm quite excited to see what I put on.
Try go out of your way to find Sine when you're there. She's runs the marketing among many things for them. She's a absolutely. Like, just go and sell it to it, not for any reason other than just make the connection. They're a very extremely professional organization. Probably the best organized of the events on PNC. 361 is a logistic clusterfuck. It is humongous. And like that course that you go on, it's long. It does get pretty gnarly in some parts, and you'll see along the way a lot of your people out there. 1 a.m, you're freezing, it's cold, there's nothing but the beautiful stars above your head. You'll be round Rüegg at that point, and there aren't so many cross sessions. And you see these fires, these little gazebos and worms, tunnies out there keeping the fires going, table their fuel the whole way through. It is so flippin' special. We get a frog in my throat just thinking about it. It is such a deeply emotional event in terms of what you push yourself through, what you get through at the end, the people along the way, the people that have set this thing up. It is, it's man, it's special. But you're going to absolutely love it, especially you, someone that has EQ and is mindful of these things. If I'm giving you any advice as someone who didn't finish and has finished, and a whole roller coaster of emotion to it, like, just stop and enjoy it. Like, really, with that Rüegg, it is impossible to cycle it in one go. Like, you will have to. Just be okay with that. Stop, look up, pray God it's a clear sky, and you will be mind blown how beautiful it is up there.
And the simple tool at the bottom that they can only 100%.
Just enjoy it. Go and ride the whole thing for what it is. And you got 36 hours. Use every one of them. Got a very comfortable bike. You can have the suspension. You have everything going. But soak it up.
Yeah.
And whatever the emotions are that you're feeling, let them be. It's what help Gerald. Crying is crying, laughing is laughing. Just like absorb it, and you'll reflect back on that thing for weeks to come. It's hardly special.
Just the journey so far has been very, very special, and I think this is an event that's kind of different. Previously, I had people ask me after I finished my first half Ironman, they're like, so how was the Ironman? I'm like, it was fun, but the journey was more fun. But I think this event is a little bit different. Yes, the journey is fun, but for the non-cyclists out there, 361 kilometers, and I think almost 5,000-6,000 meters of elevation. That is next level.
And
for me,
the toughest thing I've ever done by a long shot.
For me personally, knowing how much it takes out of me to do like 200k cycle, it's very tough, especially at my weight. The kilojoules I burn, or the calories I burn, compared to other guys is a lot higher. So for the bigger guys, it is a bit more difficult, but it is so rewarding. So I'm very excited for the event. Next week is Unpacking Vuelta, so I need to fly up with my bicycle so that I can train in Vuelta as well for the 361, because it's the week before. So I need to get some of my just volume in there. So it's luckily not hard sessions, but I'm getting antsy for this event. I want to get there. I know it's going to be tough, but it's still exciting.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, but you're going to love it. That is a journey. People along the way. I almost want to drive out there and just be there for your finish to hear it. Anyone that is doing 361 as well, please let us know in the comments. I'd love Timo to know wherever he can while he's out there. The night before is quite lekker. The day after, you'll go, whatever time you finish, go be cleaned up, come back, hang around there. It's a proper vibe. I wish you luck, but I feel like you don't need it. I wish you presence of mind. Thanks. To just like soak it up, because I didn't realize it's dawned on me sitting here now with you, the very niche and specific community you speaking to and wanting to inspire to live a better life or a different version of the life that they live. If not as devoted as you, but in some small way, shape and form. And that's really like, I think this is you in their land, you interact with a lot of that community. So it's super noble what you do. Like, mad respect for getting to this point. Huge kudos to Toiki. I really hope he joins our Savage DC team again. That was special. Toiki, do the right thing. But thank you to him for taking up the mantle and forcing you to us, and for everyone else peer pressuring you, jumping on the bandwagon. Simon, I know, has been a very vocal advocate of yours. Huge props to Simon and to Devol at Titan for
Making it possible.
being unconventional in terms of what they want to support.
Yeah.
And that's, I don't mean that in any way, shape or form, other than just like they're on brands out there looking for crazy Afrikaans Burman that consider themselves to be outside the normal weight. I think you're perfectly proportion for, for your size, your stature. But those aren't the people typically getting bikes and, sponsored rides to go and take on challenges. And that speaks volumes about what they stand for. I need to go off it together at some point to go and cover that place and their story as well, because it's so many times as people are in their ecosystem that they're involved, that they're helping. So just, showing some awareness and respect to them for doing what they're doing. That's because it wouldn't be influencing and not influencing, but inspiring people and having an influence on people to whatever you think you're not capable of, or whatever you like, whatever big looming challenges are out there, just bite the bullet, go do it. And by the same token, if you know someone on the fence, humming and awing about it, go buy them an entry and make them do it. That's the flip side of that story. Like, be the vehicle of change.
That was the toy.
Yeah.
He's like, Timo, entry, hold, off you go.
Need it.
You need it. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
And mad respect for everyone that's supporting me through this, and especially my wife. She's one machine. But also a brand like Titan, and I think that's why I'm starting to really love the brand, because they look after the unconventional cyclists as well. Because if you go and look at a lot of the European brands and more global brands, at the weight limit of a lot of their bicycles, unfortunately I fall outside of it. But
it's a valid point.
Yes, but their brand not. And that's what's lacking.
What's their weight limit on their bikes?
I think 125 on that one. So they look out for the fat Boosian that's going to do this event. So I'm just joking when I'm saying the fat Boosian, but there is a lot of people out there that weighs more than 70 kgs or more than 60 kgs and did the 100 plus. There's so many 100 plus kg runners out there. And just to give you an example, the other day I checked the thing, like the Robo wheels from Specialized, or this works. I think their weight is 109 kgs. So like, there's so many people that can't cycle on that. But there's many other brands that their weight limit is 110, 115 around there. And then there's a big market like Strava even has a part. If you weigh more than 115 kgs, you'll know it. There's a separate KOM for us. So that's how I measure myself. Like, if I do a segment, I go and check that I get the KOM for the 115 kg plus. So it's not
That's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll show you afterwards. It's not just
How many incomes do you have?
a few. It's not just the Buffalo category, it's the Buffalo Pro Max category. 115 kg Timo. So when I do the wines, when I do wines to Wales end of the year, I'm gonna. That's my big thing. I wanna hopefully be the fastest 110 kg plus rider.
You're going to be 100 by then, so you're back into that category.
That depends. I've been losing in weight a lot slower now. Like the first 40 was quite quick. I won't say quick, so it took me 2 years. But I'm trying to do it in a healthy way. I'm not trying to rush the weight off. Because you still need to eat quite a bit of carbs and things on that to get through these events. So I'm trying to do it in a healthy way. Don't want to lose muscle mass in the process. That's a very important part. Because I'm trying to take care of my body in the long run.
Yeah. That's There's a lot of parallel journeys here now. It's pretty bizarre. That's the train I'm on right now. My cycling volume is like nearly zero. Were it not for these gravel test rides that I need to get donated out, I'd rather do gallows this weekend because you have to do gallows. It's like a rite of passage. Next year, I would like to jump 261, but my wife is supposed to do it, and it's a bit of a sore point, so it's too few for that one.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's the GCN recently did a thing where they spoke about, being healthy, functioning healthy. And he goes and he does, I think it's like 3 months, maybe 8 weeks of strength training. But he's so flipping committed that Ollie.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can do one pull-up. If I can, it's probably only one. He by the end of this thing, I think he reps out like 10. He goes up the whole thing, he picks up weight, his climbing goes down, and there's this like mental battle that you get into with yourself where it's like, oh no, using the cycling, it's obsessive. Like it really is a thing that like it hooks you. And it's better than the previous version of yourself, the Breakaway, and I still can't find my OG fat picture. I was 160, and it's a 2-liter brandy jug in Pretoria. My hair's clean-shaven, and it's disgusting. It's like look at that picture to remind me.
160.
Yeah, 160.
Those are original, boy.
But it's 40 kgs from where I dropped to, so it's a number.
Yeah. 40 kgs, it's just another human being.
Hated it. That feeling it's the worst place mentally I could have been.
Have I shared with you how this journey of mine started initially? Why I decided?
You have, but for anyone that doesn't know.
For the people that don't know, I'll never forget it. It was the 3rd of October. Sitting on the couch, and I needed to clip my toenails that morning. And Monique was sitting across from me, and I went down and was out of breath, clipping one toenail, and another one, and I was like, "This is bullshit. I can't live like this anymore. I can't." And that was my big change. Was that morning trying to clip my toenails, and I was out of breath because my bench was too big. Right. And that was absolutely, I was disgusted with the person I was, because the night before I smashed the bottle and half, put on weight, like a bride.
Standard. Yeah. Standard. Totally normalized.
Yeah. And then you eat at breakfast this big, greasy and oily, just to feel better the next morning. I'm like, this is not the life you want to live. And then a couple of weeks went by, and a good friend of mine got a heart attack before 40. Living the same type of lifestyle, and I'm like, yep, that cocker, that's me, the old journey started. So, but the people, and that's why I say, if I can inspire one guy to just change his life, I think I've done a good job.
You're done with that epic, we're gonna put you in that chair and we're gonna do the full story. You said, but no, when I've done the 361, I'm gonna do the full, and I remember that.
Yeah.
But you don't need to finish any of those. But because I also want to do an epic, I think that'd be a epic sit down, because it's stuff has been. It's a very, very similar story, actually. The Afrikaans is better than mine, but other than that, it's
Your English is better than
you see, perfect enough time. Some of the areas, some of the lifestyle, a lot of similarities. The 361, Bath, Ironman, all those things. And they started with the same place, inspired by similar people. Like massive respect to the Curry family. Craig is that shop of his there in Boksburg, Bicycle Islands. The birthplace of a lot of stories that have changed.
And unfortunately, I wasn't fortunate enough to know Craig, but I know his son and his daughter. But that whole cycling community in the East Rand bicycle line,
that's his legacy.
Yeah.
That's his legacy. That's it. Worry not to existed.
Yeah.
And as a private bank, it was like an investing private banker.
Okay.
And that's where he landed up, and his legacy that he left behind. Imagine he never did that. He stayed as a banker, and he passed
that ripple effect of his legacy. Look, here we are today in Cape Town talking about his legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's actually phenomenal. And the people taking his legacy forward.
Yeah,
Bernie, Herbie, what a champ. For the people that don't know, Uncle Herbie, The amount of times he has pushed me up climb in Hobo
Yeah.
when I was still not just Timo, but Timo. And he didn't squeal once, and he's like,
Right.
let's go. Let's do this. You can do this. And they were the people that got me back every morning.
Yeah.
4:40 is when the ride starts. And I'm still on the group board. Those were the guys.
He's a legend, man. Yeah. And that's all living, ongoing living examples of Craig's legacy. Because Gerby wasn't there at the start. All these people were brought in. Craig was brilliant at that. Could bring everything in together that needed to be there. Also, didn't have the ego to care about his ride and his time. He was happy to be there and help other people on their journey. And that's what they cultivated. Him and Tim and the whole crew of there. Tintin, sorry, not Tim.
Yeah,
And look, Gerby, I know you're way too old to have made it this long into a podcast. You probably don't know what a podcast is. Because you're an old buggy. But if you do make it this far in, actually, I hope he does. We're not ready to hear compliments. Imagine that in the comment section of my YouTube videos. So it's going to be rough. We'd be reported for inappropriate language week in and out. But
yeah. So Herbie, if you do comment, keep it PG-13, please.
there's not a chance that's going to. But I don't think he has a YouTube account. I now feel very invested to try and make sure that only features is part of the video. He'll just skip forward to the part where he gets the compliment, and that's all you'll hear.
But no, I think it would be good. But everyone else in that community,
Yeah.
they are phenomenal. And that need to take my answer for the community I'm involved with right now. The sports world groups there in the northern suburbs, the Toy van der Berg, the Malan, Neil Swart, all of those guys. They took me under their wing, and when I'm now also suffering on a climb just a bit quicker than I used to, they also help me. And that's why cycling is so unique to any other sport. People don't care how bad you are in it, they just want you to ride. And I think that's the sport is so phenomenal if you think about it. Like for me, I just found more people to start cycling. And at every single braai, now I don't talk about banana trackers anymore now, I just talk about cycling. And
You that guy.
yeah, I'm that guy. But it's fun. I absolutely love it. I'm so invested in the sport on the professional side as well, like following friends like Mark Pritz and Felix Ferrier. So 2-3 love and handing Tour de France in July. Like 21 days I work from home. Glued to like us. That's all I do. I can watch a 6-hour race every day.
Yeah. I don't have much more to add other than I agree, and I can't wait to see the end of this little chapter of your story.
Thanks.
Good luck for 361. If you are still capable of moving after that, hopefully we can have you back here to tell us how it went. Send my love to Sine. Please go find her and give her a little hug from me. And yeah, man, we'll see you out there. Thank you for coming through today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was such a blast chatting to you about this whole journey. I really enjoyed it.
Welcome back anytime. And the same goes for anyone else out there. Please feel free to come and join us. We'd love to layer the community into this platform because that's who it's intended for.